Last week, actress Shay Mitchell, who is most known for her role on Pretty Little Liars, launched a skincare brand for kids with two other founders. The other founders are her long term partner, Matt Babel, and Esther Song. Song is the chief marketing officer at the parent company and a former Estee Lauder executive. And over the past week, it's been Mitchell who's been getting the most feedback and the most backlash because she's become kind of the face of the brand. Like in the promotional photos, she and Esther are in it, but Matt is not. Together, though, the three of them founded a skincare line for children that currently sells face masks. And this skincare line specifically targets children from as young as 3. Their target demographic is 3 and up. The magazine Elle did a puff piece on this brand, did an interview with Shay Mitchell, and they used the word genius to describe this brand, which respectfully, Elle, it is not, because this line is entirely unnecessary. And more than that, it's problematic, in my opinion. Children do not need face masks. And my overall beef with this brand is their positioning. They are actively part of the blurring of consumerism and care or consumption and care. And they are also part of the mechanism or the momentum, the entity, the effort that is encouraging young children to hold this belief that self care is the purchase or self care is something that you buy. And I mean, we have more to discuss here beyond that, but that's one of my central issues. Let's take a look at the brand's mission statement first. Let's start there to hear what they would like this brand to be in their own words. So, we're going to read two things. We're going to first read their about statement and then we'll read their mission statement. So, they say, Meet Rini. We created Rini because we wanted products that are gentle, trustworthy, and inspire creativity. Elevated by Korean innovation, Rini is where skincare meets play, a world where kids can dream, transform, and explore with dermatologist tested products parents trust. Children do not need to transform via face masks or explore and play with skincare products. These products are designed to sell a ritual to this group that does not need them. The idea that creams or face masks are places for exploration and play turns what is like a basic or healthy curiosity about oneself or even the desire to play and commodifies it. The brand is actively teaching young children that play is something that you buy, or that your identity and your imagination are things that you purchase. They're tied to consumption. This is particularly concerning with the age of these children. Like this line specifically is for children to 3 and up. Children that young are independent from the market, from consumerism. And children need to be taught to value things and to participate in it by somebody somewhere or through socialization, like through some factor. And we are like actively reaching the tentacles of these things into the lives of children. And they're doing it at a stage in life when children are still forming their sense of self. Linking play or creativity or self-expression commodifies a natural and normal part of childhood that does not inherently require these things. Yes, children's toys are not new, but trying to tell children that the way to do this is with skincare is new. Maybe not 2025 new, but newer at least. And a message children don't need to be receiving. Play can be free or cheap, and the focus should be on the play, facilitating play, not trying to sell children products like skincare products that they can then play with. Like, I don't know, it's weird. Children are increasingly encouraged to purchase experiences or rituals instead of exploring them organically. We are not born believing that our worth, for example, or our creativity is tied to what we buy. These are things that need to be taught and learned. And brands like these are accelerating the process, and it's happening with parental guidance as well because these products could not get into the hands of children without parents either saying, like, if the child is old enough, like, yeah, it's fine, go buy it, whatever, or buying them for their children directly. I mean, a 3-year-old isn't going to tell mom, I want these face masks, go buy them for me. By approving these products, parents are reinforcing this message. Marketing to parents often leverage subtle guilt. If you truly want your child to feel confident, creative, or cared for, you should buy this. It can help turn caregiving into a transactional act where love and attention are measured by what you provide materially rather than emotionally. And when parents buy into it, they model the behavior that consumerism equals care. Children internalize it. To take care of myself or feel confident, I need a product. This is exactly the cycle the brand is promoting. And it's reinforced by adult authority. In addition, self expression in childhood typically comes through things like art or movement, imagination, that kind of thing, not a product line. By linking exploration and identity through skincare products, like through a literal face mask, the brand frames a cosmetic ritual as a form of achievement or self improvement, which subtly suggests that to engage with the world creatively, children need this product when they absolutely don't. Children are also at a stage where they're learning about their bodies, right? Like their face or their appearance, those things. And they're developing their relationship and their understanding of these things. Framing skincare as something essential to this relationship makes your body something to manage, or your appearance is a project. It must continuously be maintained, it must continuously be improved and managed. Even if a product is marketed as fun, quote unquote, it plants the idea that like your skin should be managed, or like your skin and your looks generally is something that requires intervention. The brand is taking critical developmental years and turning them into opportunities to sell children things directly, to like literally indoctrinate little consumers or to normalize consumerism to children. Again, I don't want to be too hard on the brand for this because this is not entirely abnormal. Children have been pitched things for decades. Children's toys and cereals and food being kind of the chief products of this age group, even potentially clothes as well. So it's not new in that respect, but like giving more children these things, giving children more things to buy, more things to consume, more things to consider is what's happening here. Is kind of what I'm talking about. This is a product line that does not need to exist, and I find it like I get really upset when children and pets are involved. And I think about it like this. 3-year-olds, most of them anyway, can't read or write, but we're gonna go and sell them shit. Or we're gonna go to their parents to sell them things to then give to the kids. And this messaging can still get to children via parents, even if children are not the ones on the website or if they're not the ones who are, doing the scrolling or the buying or the checkout. We can still teach children consuming habits or body management habits or beauty habits. Given as well that this audience is mainly comprised of people who identify as women, you know exactly the kind of messaging that women receive about their appearance and their body. the pressures and the overall messaging. It can be overwhelming, extreme, confusing, and often contradictory. Even things like when I was younger, I'm still very young, but when I was younger, I wasn't really paying attention too much about the aging uh, conversation. But now as I'm getting older and I'm looking at, okay, how is aging being taught to women? And this whole like aging gracefully thing is really pissing me off. Like, let's manage women's bodies and appearances a little more. Skincare marketing to children, specifically to girls, starts all of that even earlier and even like, and it's not necessary. And it's like, it's an increased focus that like appearance and managing it is central to your identity and that your self worth is entirely linked to how you look. And even a child's natural, healthy skin needs management, it needs care, it needs improvement, is the word I'm looking for. Like the people who have the most likelihood of having perfect skin are literally children. And I think it trains insecurities at a young age. Or, by framing these products are framed as pathways to confidence. They're confidence boosting or self-expression. This brand implies that a child's value or creativity is tied to consumption. Again, even if the mask is marketed as fun or play, the message is still clear. To be confident, to explore, or to take care of yourself, you need this product. Again, I might have said this too many times already. I'll say it again. These are children are in their formative years, and we are like intervening in how they think and act, or have a potential to intervene and influence how they think and act during impressionable years. We can set up lifelong associations between like self-esteem and appearance and cosmetics or products or just like consuming in general. The potential harm is not immediate and dramatic, and if children are to be harmed, we're not going to notice it probably in the 2 years or the 3 years, but I'm talking like when children reach teens or when children get older and part of the broader social narrative and landscape. Like, as an example, the increasing rate of like plastic surgery, body modification, even things that are supposed to be like less invasive, like lip filler or Botox, have become increasingly common. And so we're seeing more people with more faces that have had intervention into them and are not natural. Yes, people are allowed to do this. The other hand of this is seeing more people with unnatural features. And we can see ourselves and our bodies and the way that they look. Like, we don't see that reflected in the way that celebrities look, or people with money, or influencers, or whoever it is. And some of this stuff becomes so pervasive that it doesn't like just start and stop with the celebrities, but there are trickle down too. And because I'm mostly talking with adults here, things that happened to you, messages about beauty or your body that happened in your childhood may have stuck with you today. I have a few of those myself, or things that I saw around me, didn't realize how impactful they were, specifically, somewhat different from today, but related, like ingrained fat phobia. A long time to kind of shake off some of those narratives. And I still think that there are little vestiges of that kind of hanging around. Anyway, back to the video. Do children need a skincare routine? Yes and no. Children need SPF 100%. And that's a great habit to build into children, not necessarily teaching the children at 1 years old, but eventually teaching children to wear SPF and developing that into a routine. A lot of children as well would benefit from like washing their face or using a moisturizer after, depending on your child's needs. Some children may benefit from specific products if they have rosacea or if they have eczema or acne, even. Like, I was getting acne as like an 8-year-old. That sucked. So it's not as though any product going on a child's skin is inherently problematic, but none of these like essential routines or teaching children adequate hygiene or healthy hygiene or basic hygiene is actually what they're doing. And if they genuinely cared about helping children establish hygiene habits or like really kind of cared about that, I would probably presume that there would be articles or educational pieces on like what that might look like or why it's important. It's just face masks. Like this idea of like healthy habits and hygiene allows them to like insert themselves into a place where they may not actually belong in order to sell their products. Let's now look at their mission statement. In their own words, they say, our mission is simple to nurture healthy habits, spark confidence, and make thoughtfully crafted daily care essentials and play products accessible to every family. We have already talked about the play products. I honestly can't even believe that that's like in here because now they're turning skincare into like it's a face mask. Okay, gonna get off that high horse. We've also kind of talked about the spark confidence thing. I think that it's a bit of a dangerous message to teach children that their confidence is going to come from all of these external things and things that you buy. And again, sorry, shook the mic. We are receiving so few messages that our self-confidence and our self-worth it should come from internal facets. It's okay if there are external ones, but we also need the messaging of internal facets and being okay with who you are and your values or what you stand for, or like your personhood and developing that. Children receive so little of that messaging. This scale can become imbalanced to just favor the external validation, the external product, like that becomes the sole way or the exclusive way or the main way that can overshadow the internal if we never receive those messaging or it's really small. They're also attempting to frame a face mask as a healthy habit and ultimately like a skincare essential or a daily product. They even call some of their face masks like the daily face mask, the essential, that kind of language. Face masks, in their best case, are for most people not an essential and not something to use on a daily basis. By framing it as a habit, the brand gets to make their product seem more important and more necessary than it actually is. They get to frame it as a foundation for well being, which it is not. And it's also another example of normalizing consumption under the guise of health. Back to the confidence element, to just really crystallize this, the brand implies that external products are a vehicle for internal self worth. This positions consumption as a shortcut to emotional growth, which risks sending the message that confidence is contingent on engagement with consumer goods rather than intrinsic experiences. You literally buy confidence. That's what this messaging implies and encourages. We're not going to teach children with one product and one brand to think this way. It's the cumulative exposure. Finally, there's the accessibility angle, and there's a few facets to this claim. Number one, these are $9 and $10 face masks. They may seem like a on the lower end or like a lower price point, but they are not accessible for every family. Most, especially when we're considering that these are not actually essentials. You could buy a bottle of face cleanser for the same amount. I literally was at the drugstore and I got a salicylic acid cleanser, 11 Canadian dollars, which is going to be cheaper than the conversion of the $10 into Canadian. What is that? 13 at least. I bought this 250 ml bottle of cleanser for cheaper than one of their face masks. These products, by attempting to claim that they're some kind of essential, they cling onto this idea that they're like a baseline of modern childhood, increasing the baseline of what is normal. They elevate novelty skincare, or they're trying to elevate what is a novelty product, a one off, nice to have luxury product, into a necessity. I'll shut up about this now. According to Forbes, one of the products, their after sun mask, was inspired by her child's sunburn. And she applied aloe to the sunburn and she goes, "Wow, this would be like a great idea to an aloe after sun face mask." Okay. I'm not faulting her for her child getting a sunburn. It happens. That's not really the problem. The problem is that there's already a solution to this, which is aloe, which are like bottles of after sun product. I got a sunburn myself on my legs. And I like they were burning so bad that day. Like I was still at the beach and I went to the nearest store and they had two products. I bought the smallest of the two, which is still a big product. It was $9.99, which is the same price as their product. I now have a bottle of freaking aloe in my bathroom to use for literally years. They've given you the most first like, there's already a solution to this, which I'm giving you now, and then they're also giving you a more wasteful and expensive version of a thing that already exists because theirs is $10 per application. Imagine your child actually has a sunburn. You're gonna need this potentially multiple times a day over multiple days. What are you gonna do? Spend like $30 to $60 buying your child these what? No. Mitchell also says that the line was inspired by her children, being curious about her routine. And this is a direct quote. My girls would always see me with masks on, especially when getting prepared for any makeup to follow. They would just come into the bathroom and look at me in the mirror and be like, "Can I use that? What's that?" I'll even pass them some deodorant with a lid on, of course, just so they feel like they can be part of my routine. I also want them to know that skincare for me is about creating healthy habits and about having that self care time that's important. If a child asks you for something, you as a parent don't have to give it to them. It's probably like not harmful in this case to like let your child use some of your moisturizer. That's going to be highly dependent on the moisturizer though, or face mask, right? If they have retinol in it, like don't give it to your child. But like if you have a generic cleanser, really basic one, or really basic moisturizer, probably wouldn't hurt. But you also like you can say to your child, "Hey child, insert name here. This product is for adults. Your skin is already healthy. You don't need these products." That moment could be a moment to talk about skincare in general, or beauty standards, or self image. The parent can say no to the product, or they can, like, if one of the products they think is safe, they can use one together. I don't think that that's harmful, like a one off product, a one off here and there. They could do the aloe thing, put a little cucumber on their eye, probably fine. Or if they wanted to encourage play and exploration, they could do that together outside of skincare. Instead, the founder is using this as an opportunity. Like, there is a big difference between a parent doing any of those things, sharing a face mask with a child that has safe ingredients, or putting aloe together, or letting them use a moisturizer or a lipstick, versus having that experience, creating entire brand to sell people things that they don't need, to sell things to children, to give things like it's a different experience. It's a different circumstance. The founder frames this as a chance to teach children that skincare is self-care, which it can be. The problem is that in this context, it serves her purpose and her brand because it's a problem really if it becomes the only example offered, which it does in this case because it suits her brand. And we can be teaching children consumption and consumption-based practices and like looking at ourselves with consuming lenses and then also feeling good about it. It's fine to bubble bath and to skincare in the self-care category, but it doesn't start and stop with that, and that's kind of like the danger of this messaging is that's it. That's the thing. The conversation also needs to be self-care and taking care of your mental health, well-being, your body, like your mind, all of those things. It can be washing your face, absolutely, taking a shower, taking a bath, talking to a therapist or a counselor, going for a walk, making a meal, going grocery shopping, going to the dentist, cleaning your glasses. Looking at myself here. Connecting with loved ones, reading, having a quiet reflective moment. These are things that are just like literally coming off the top of my head. I'm sure together collectively we could come up with a really long list. These practices are important for adults and children. And if nobody takes the time to teach children these things, consumer culture will 100% co opt these practices. Kids also learn by what they see around them. Companies like this are intervening early to teach children consuming is self care and training the next generation to care for themselves via stuff via consumption. With the endless barrage of marketing already coming to Gen Alpha, maybe even younger, like would 3 year olds now be considered Gen Alpha? Either way, we'll call them Gen Alpha. They may become the most consumer driven generation ever because no other generation has received the quantity of marketing, the personalization of marketing as well. I don't think any other generation has received such intense marketing for such prolonged periods in such intimate spaces and for all kinds of products. I would like to share the concluding thoughts now. My critique is much less about the parents who buy this as a one off. It's more about the brand and what it represents. The real concern is the long term repeated exposure of this brand and brands like it, kind of more socially and like the climate generally. And just having, like, just imagine a child getting all of these messages, like all the time for years and growing up with them, what that might do to their relationship with their body and their self, their personhood, their concepts of beauty, their concepts of their body, their concepts of consumption and self-care. The long-term effects of being exposed to messaging that equates self-worth with consumption or creativity with consumption. A single face mask here and there is not inherently harmful. You're not doing long term, irreversible damage on your child. Just like if you're somebody who takes your child to go get their nails done every now and then, your child's probably fine. The issue is the broader pattern of behavior and messaging that can shape behavior and expectations over time. It's also worth acknowledging that beauty routines are where a lot of women connect and bond. It could be a lot of things like the hair salon or the nail salon. It can also be like Shay Mitchell's example, doing skincare together. It can be a meaningful moment of connection. And I'm sure many of you in the comments have fond memories with your parents, a loved one, somebody maybe. That's not inherently negative, and some intimate conversations can happen about body and beauty and connecting or just like personal relationships or connecting with somebody that maybe you haven't in a long time. The concern arises when the product themselves is the source of value versus the connection or the shared experience or the relationship itself. Framing children's self worth, confidence, imagination, or play around products, this subtly teaches children that love or personal growth or care even are tied to what you consume. And that's the part we need to be critical of. So that's it for me. That's the video. Thanks so much for watching and hope to see you again around here soon for a new one. Bye.